Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, Pigskin Addicts, back again with another video. So let's jump right into it. Chargers, Raiders, kicking it off this Sunday for the second time. Going to be live from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. This is a game where you throw all the records out. This is a game where you throw out the Week 1 win by the Chargers. You throw all of that out the window. Both of these teams are two completely different teams than they were Week 1. So when you have a matchup like this, come down really to execution, right? Which team can execute the best? Which team can play the best situational football? Now, both of these teams have had, very low points in the season. I think the Chargers, their low points have been not as low as the Raiders have been. The Raiders really expected a lot more coming into the season, but the Raiders are starting to find their footing. And to be honest with you, they look like a scary team. This is why I say you throw all of the records out. The Raiders, they are discovering who they are, and who they are is a power running team, right? This is a style of football that I personally love, and this is a style of football that has always been able to produce winning football, right? From the inception of football, from when they first kicked it off with leather helmets all the way till now, power football, power running has always been a solution. It's always been a solution, and it always will be, right? Football is a game of will. Football is the most physical sport that, we have here in America. So when you are able to impose your will and be powerful, that is the most intimidating and the most effective way to win, in my opinion. Now, we know the Chargers struggle with the run game, right? It's not been a secret. It's been there for the past 2 seasons, right? This game is going to boil down to, again, situational football, but can the Chargers stop the Raiders' run game? Because the Raiders are starting to realize that they are better when they run the ball. They have Josh Jacobs in the backfield. He has looked all world this season. He will be an all-pro. If he's not an all-pro, then the whole voting thing is rigged. He should be an all-pro this season. He has looked extremely impressive this season. The Raiders have rushed for almost 400 yards just in the past 2 games. So when you look at what the Raiders can do on the ground, it is very intimidating. Can the Chargers do enough to stop the Raiders on the ground to win the game? That is going to be the big question. Now, as of right now, the Chargers are averaging 151 yards given up on the ground every game. Now, this is a very high average. It's one of the worst in the league. But this Charger team has found a way to still have 6 wins, right? They are still above 500, which is nothing short of amazing to me. 151 yards. I don't think that's going to win it for the Raiders. I think if the Raiders are going to win this game, they need to go over 200 yards. And they need to be able to take a lot of time off of the clock. And they need to be able to establish the run, not just in a power sense, but Davante Adams will be one-on-one if the Chargers can't stop the run. And if the Chargers cannot stop the run, he's going to be one-on-one with either of the corners. And that's a matchup that you would take if you're the Raiders, right? You want to get Davante Adams involved, but you don't want to get Davante Adams involved like they did in Week 1, right? They only went to him. He had 10 receptions, 140 yards and a touchdown, but they still lost the game. And they were not able to pick up first downs when they needed to. Derek Carr had probably his worst game as a pro that game, but it's going to be easy for them. They're going to hand the ball off to Josh Jacobs. They should hand the ball off to him. He should get at least 30 carries. They should have another, 35 to 40 carries between the entire team. So, again, this is going to be up to the Chargers if they can stop the run well enough. I don't expect the Chargers to give up less than 100. I expect them to give up well over the season average. But can they stop the run when it comes down to it? Crucial second downs, crucial third downs. Can they make Derek Carr, be perfect, and deliver perfect passes in some tight windows? I think that's what it's going to boil down to. But if you're the Chargers, you have to stop the run game. That's where it starts. That's where the success starts. That's where a win will start, is stopping the run game. One of the biggest things when it comes to the run game is the gap control, right? It's something that I talked about. They need to control the gaps. The Chargers have to have gap control. They cannot allow the Raiders to just run the ball through wide gaps that you can drive cars through. They have to be able to close it up. So I think Staley is going to have to bring out the 6-1. You're going to have to bring the 6-1 out. That's going to be really the only legitimate alignment that you can come out with that can stop a run game, right? You have to go with the 6-1. It has to be there a lot. It's got to be there, probably more than 20 snaps, because the Chargers cannot stop the run game out of their base alignment. Their base 3-4 alignment, they cannot stop it. They have not been able to stop it all season long. I don't expect anything to change with that. They are going to have to bring the 6-1 out. When the Chargers have brought the 6-1 out in various games this season, they have had a lot of success with it. And it shows up on tape pretty much every week. When they bring it out, they are able to stop the run. So I expect to see the 6-1 in very high leverage situations. Again, second down, third and short, I expect to see that. You want to put the ball in Derek Carr's hands. You want to turn this into a shootout of some sorts, because I think that's where the Chargers have the best chance to pull this off, right? You don't want to get into a power game. You don't want to get into a running game, because the Chargers can't stop it and the Chargers can't run it. So this has to be a game. This has to be a Justin Herbert versus Derek Carr game. If it's a Justin Herbert versus a Derek Carr game, a lot of people, including myself, are taking Justin Herbert over Derek Carr, right? He's had the better season, even though this is still a down season for Herbert with injuries, the receivers going down, all that stuff. I trust Justin Herbert way more than I trust Derek Carr. So if this is a Justin Herbert game, I like the Chargers' chances. But again, it all is going to start up front. All of it is going to start at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. If the Chargers don't do that, if this is not a Justin Herbert versus a Derek Carr game, if the Chargers are hard-headed, if Brandon Staley is hard-headed in his approach, if he's hard-headed in his preparation, this has the potential to get embarrassing for the Chargers. This could be embarrassing. The Chargers could potentially make Josh Jacobs look like Gale Sayers on Sunday if the Chargers are not disciplined and if Brandon Staley is not committed to preparing the proper way. If he is committed to preparing the proper way, this game should be a lot closer. Obviously, the run defense is still going to be an issue, but it shouldn't be an issue where you're going to be getting embarrassed and you're going to look like a buffoon on national TV, right? You don't want that. But if this approach is still the same, if, the Chargers are not controlling the gaps, if they are leaving, the A and B gaps wide open, if they are not, holding the edge, right? If they're not containing the edge, this can be a very ugly game, and this can be embarrassing for the Chargers. This could be one of those losses that can really, really, really spark some of the rumors around Brandon Staley, around his seat being hot, right? If it goes down this way, because what the Raiders did to the Seahawks last week was impressive. It was impressive, and not a lot of teams can do that. You can't really do that to a team who is squarely in the playoff picture, right? I know the Seahawks are not great defending the run either, but to put up 300 yards on them, at home in Seattle, one of the loudest stadiums in the world, that was impressive. That was impressive. So, I am a Charger fan. I hate the Raiders, but when they play well, or when they have something working, you have to be able to recognize it, right? You got to take your fandom out of it, right? Your fandom is not going to help the Chargers stop Josh Jacobs. It's going to be preparation, right? It's going to be recognizing that you do not have a great defense and you need to pull some stops out, right? You need to pull something different out. You need to give the Raiders something that they haven't seen from the Chargers. You need to really mix it up. That's what needs to happen. Adjustments have to be made. You need to mix it up, and you need to make it hard for them. If you come out in the same base alignment, they are going to run on the Chargers all day long. And I know the Chargers have some good guys up front, but the defense, the scheme is just not there. It's not there, just to have Sebastian Joseph Day or Breeden Fehoko make a few plays. The scheme is not there for that. It's not there for that to be consistent all game long. So, again, the Chargers are going to have to do something different. They're going to have to go to different alignments. They're going to have to bring some run blitzes. They're going to have to, pretty much mix it up. They're going to have to move Derwin James around. They are going to have to throw everything to stop this Raiders run game, because they are realizing that their power, right? Their power as a team comes from playing power football. That's where they are, right? They spend a lot of money in the offseason, and I think they got to trade Renfrow. They got to trade Waller. They got to trade one of those guys in the offseason, because they understand now that the power run game is going to get them where they want to go. You're not going to beat Kansas City trying to beat Kansas City, right? The Raiders have a very, very distinct identity as a team, right? And that's running the ball, and you can take that anywhere on the road. So I think they're going to have to trade one of those guys. I honestly do. If you trade one of those guys, you're able to get back some draft compensation. Then you draft and you continue to build around your offensive line, continue to build around the power, mindset. The Raiders can really turn it around. This type of football wins everywhere. It really does. I love it. I'm jealous. I want the Chargers to play it, but they don't, and they probably will not. But this type of football really, really gets me worried. So again, it's F the Raiders all the way, but I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh, they suck and that they're this and that, whatever, because they're 4-7 or whatever. I'm not going to say that because they are starting to come into their own right now. And if the Chargers if they take them lightly, they're going to get embarrassed. I will say that if the Chargers take this team lightly, they will get embarrassed. They will get dominated physically. And again, the Brandon Staley discussion will happen. So I want the Chargers to come out. I want them to take this week seriously. I want them to take this week of preparation seriously. And I want them to come out and I want them to stop the run a little bit, make this game close, have it be a fourth quarter game, right? Have Justin Herbert make some throws, right? And get out of Vegas with a win any way that they can. But they are going to have to be on their P's and Q's this week. This is going to be a tough game. And, I think they can do it. The players are believing. They're still believing. Nobody has, jumped off the ship yet. But I want this team to be able to come out, play some good football, and again, just try to escape with the win. That's what I want. So that's kind of my breakdown here. Again, I throw all the numbers out, throw the records out, throw all of that stuff out. Both of these teams are familiar with each other, and they're going to go at each other. So hopefully the Chargers are able to pull it out, but we'll see what happens on Sunday. But that is all I have for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Really appreciate it. Shout outs to all my new subscribers. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. And that's all I got for this one, guys. I'll be back again tomorrow with more content. Thank you guys so much, and till next time.